We now have Democrats here who have shown up with the House Oversight Committee speaking outside of where that deposition with Hillary Clinton will take place.
Out here to answer any questions once we've actually started the depositions, but we wanted to make some brief comments right now, and then we'll go ahead and go in and start. Let me just begin by saying that Oversight Democrats, from day one, we have said that we want to talk to anyone, any person that has information about Jeffrey Epstein, about his crimes, about how he was able to get so much wealth. We will talk to any single person, whether that is a Democrat, a Republican, how much wealth they have, how powerful their position is. We want to talk to anyone. So we're happy to be here, and we're glad that both Secretary Clinton and former President Clinton are willing to talk to this committee. I also think it's important to note, I'm glad to see that we have our Republican colleagues here. As a big group of them, I wish they would have joined us at the Les Wexner deposition, but I'm glad that they're here now to get questions answered. That is an important part of our investigation. Let me just add that as it relates to Secretary Clinton, who's here today, she has been very clear. She's never met Jeffrey Epstein. We have no evidence of her having any interactions with Mr. Epstein. And so I think that's important to note as we walk into this deposition. But I also want to say, which I think is very important, that at this very moment, the Department of Justice continues to lead a White House cover-up. And we're going to be demanding, even over these next few days, that the remaining files that have not been released get released to the public. And that includes new files that were just discovered in the last couple days of a survivor that has made serious accusations and allegations against not just Jeffrey Epstein, but also against President Trump, and about abuse that she suffered when she was a minor. We have seen the DOJ files and the archive manifest that clearly shows that the interviews and information around this survivor have been removed and are missing from the DOJ files. Where are these files? Who removed them? Those questions have to be answered. What we have is a survivor that we have verified, that others have verified, and those files are missing. And it's not just those. It's an additional 50% of files that are missing. It is unconscionable. It is illegal. And Pam Bondi and the president need to answer to where those files are. And that's going to continue to drive our work, not just today, but every single day until we get justice for the survivors. I'm going to have some of our members here make a few comments as well.
Thank you. It is abundantly clear that this is the most egregious cover-up in American history. The recent reporting by the New York Times, NPR, and other media outlets that have verified this, demonstrating that the Department of Justice, in addition to violating the law over and over again, as they refuse to release the full and unredacted files, have withheld 50 pages of allegations against President Trump. This cover-up needs to end immediately. I am glad that we are here today as part of this ongoing investigation, because we will accept any information that anybody can give us about Jeffrey Epstein's vast child sex trafficking operation. I just want to say that young people in this country are watching right now. If the most powerful people in the United States of America, the elite and rich and powerful men and women, are able to get away with these heinous crimes, then we are sending a horrible message to young people in this country that powerful people will always protect themselves and the rule of law does not apply to everyone. So I look forward to the next 2 days, and we know that there is so much more to uncover here, and we expect to get answers from the Department of Justice immediately. Thank you.
I'm Congressman Suhas Subramaniam. We're here today in New York to talk to Hillary Clinton, and tomorrow to talk to former President Bill Clinton. I want to make clear that there were no Republicans in Ohio to talk to Les Wexner, who bankrolled the Epstein's fortune for the most part, and allowed a lot of his crimes to happen. Yet Hillary Clinton, who maintains that she doesn't recall meeting Jeffrey Epstein, is here today, and we have a lot of Republicans here today. That underscores to me the partisan nature of what some of the Republicans on our committee and in Congress are doing and the way they're approaching this investigation. And meanwhile, they're not holding the Department of Justice accountable for breaking the law over and over again. There's 2.5 million files that have not been released, and now we're hearing and seeing evidence of some of those files, including accusations against President Trump. We know that there are other information in those files that clearly is not about protecting victims. It's about protecting people who committed crimes. And so we, as Democrats on the Oversight Committee, are going to continue to approach this investigation in a nonpartisan way, because all we want is the truth, and we want justice for the survivors, and we want to make sure this never happens again, no matter how rich and powerful the perpetrators are. Thank you.
Speaking of rich and powerful, how come
Thank
the
you.
Clintons weren't for us?
I'm James Walkinshaw from Virginia. We are here today to continue our investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. And it's important to note, and as others have said, there is no indication, zero, zip, zilch, nada, that Secretary Clinton had any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. She submitted a sworn statement that she never met Jeffrey Epstein, and my fear is we're here today as part of a political exercise, part of a long-running fever dream where Republicans want to lock up Secretary Clinton. We had the State of the Union this week, and President Trump spoke for 2 hours and refused to even acknowledge the courageous survivors of Epstein's crimes who were in the chamber. He wouldn't even address the issue. His attorney general refuses to even meet with the survivors. So we want to conduct a serious bipartisan investigation. I'm glad that President Clinton will sit down with us tomorrow and answer questions about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. But I wanted to come today to ensure that this is a serious exercise, a serious investigation, and not a political or partisan one. Thank you.
Why weren't the Clintons made to go to Washington to testify?
I'll answer that. I'll answer that question. So let me go ahead and we're going to answer one or two questions. Let me just also say, I think today also sets a precedent. And so I want to be very clear that we have said from day one that we want to talk to former President Bill Clinton. And the other person we want to talk to is current President Donald Trump. And so we should be very clear that now that we're going to hear from former President Clinton, I hope that Chairman Comer and the Republicans will join us in demanding that the person who actually appears more times in the files than the former president, who we want to speak with, is President Donald Trump. And so let's get President Trump in front of our committee to answer the questions that are being asked across this country from survivors and from those who have been brutally attacked and raped, sometimes as children. Let's release the files and answer one or two questions. Thank you.
So should the Clintons have come forward sooner to testify and be deposed in front of the committee? And also, what are the discussions with Republicans about bringing other administration officials like Lutnick, who are mentioned in these files, before lawmakers?
We want to hear from Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick, of course, said that he'd stopped communicating with Epstein, our Commerce Secretary, then goes on to visit Epstein's island, communicate with him, go into business with him, all of which was not disclosed. He should not be the Commerce Secretary right now. As it relates to the questions about the location was selected by Republicans. The majority controls where and how the depositions are done. We want to continue hearing from folks.
Thank you.
Just a question. What could they possibly ask Hillary Clinton all day? They've mentioned Maxwell at the wedding. And what questions, you said you're happy to talk to anyone. What questions do you have for Hillary, given that she said she has no connection?
We're gonna give the Secretary an opportunity to clarify any questions that Republicans might have, that we might have. Look, if she has any information that could be helpful to the investigation, we want to hear that. And so we're going to find out here, and we'll report back what's actually being asked. But broadly speaking, anyone that has any information, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, we want a nonpartisan investigation, and that's going to include ensuring that President Trump comes before our committee. Yes.
Do you have questions about the Clinton Global Initiative and the fundraising involved?
There's going to be questions asked about that. So thank you very much. We'll come back out. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so answering our question there, we did hear from House Oversight Democrats there. There's about 4 of them that just spoke to members of the media. They also said that they will provide updates and news conferences as all of this kind of progresses. When there are breaks, we can expect that we'll hear from the House Oversight Republicans and Democrats, and we'll bring all of that to you here, as we always do, on Live Now from Fox.